Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tea Time. Today on Tea Time, we are going to talk about Burrow and why it's so crap. Well, I'll tell you why it's so crap. Let's go over to Reddit. So, this is a post that comes up every once in a while. What's going on with Burrow? Why is it weird? What's going on? Why are burrowed units considered different units? Why can I have Burrow and Unburrow on the same thing? And you're like, wait a minute, I've never heard of this before. Well, here's what it looks like. If you're Protoss, you have Warp Prisms. They have a toggle ability. And when you select some that are unwarped and some that are warped, it's just one selection, and you get the unwarping, the phasing, and transport all in one nice section. Excellent. Terran is the same, and I select the Widowmine here especially because it's literally burrowing into the ground. Very similar to the Zerg. We have both options here. But with Zerg, not the case. We have one option. We can burrow or not. The other thing that we can do is tab. So as you can see here, like watch the highlighting. These are actually, despite the fact that they're all roaches, two subsets of units. Similar to how if I select these, I have two subsets. One subset for Widowmines and one for Warp Prisms, right? Back and forth. But with Zerg, for some reason, which I'm going to explain in a bit, you can't burrow and unburrow. And this is because, as I've been told, I went to BlizzCon last year. I went this year, but I went last year as well, 2014, and I had an interview and I got to ask this question, why is this the case? And the answer I got was basically that in order for Burrow on standard hotkeys to be the same key for grid users, okay, all of these stipulations, this has to be in the same place. Burrow and unburrow have to be in the same place. Now look over here, notice activate and deactivate are in different places. Over here, it's always in this place, right? Always in this place. Same thing over here, two different places. We select, and it's only here, and this is blank, and then here. So, my question to you is, why can't we have burrow over here, or over here, or over here, or wherever it makes sense, and have unburrow in the other place? So that way when we select our Zerg units, we can just have them in one area. That's it. We can choose. I have a bunch of roaches and I can either unburrow all of them or burrow all of them. Now before, maybe that wasn't such a big deal. Maybe that was not something that happened too often and it made more sense to have Zerg units have burrow on one key. Always on one key. It's easier to remember, right? One button is easier to remember than two. If it's always R or, whatever it is for grid users, if it's always one key, it's, easier to remember. Cool, great, good for new players. But the problem is that the whole situation of having some burrowed and some unburrowed has changed. Now with the introduction, that's a word, of the lurker, things are a little bit different now. So we have basically, as Zerg players, a siege unit just like the siege tank, but say I have my Zerg control group with all of my lurkers in it and I realize I need to unburrow and get out of here. I can't just select my Zerg control group and then get out of here with an unburrow. I have to tab first and then unburrow. Not cool. And you might think, oh, this is a tiny little thing. But first of all, it's inconsistent because why should Zerg be working a different way with this toggleable ability that's so similar to the Terrans and the Protoss? It's so similar to changing a siege tank in a siege mode and not. I think it would be better for new players if it were consistent and the same, especially for players who are trying out a new race or players who play multiple races. Blizzard has often brought to us, I'm paraphrasing, I do not represent Blizzard's opinion, these are my own opinions, remember that, legal terms, but Blizzard has said on occasion, we don't want to make a change unless it's going to have a significant positive impact. And the positive impact overall has to be, a net positive. Any negative impacts have to be much smaller, significantly smaller than the positive impact. So here's my case for making this change. Number one, the high-level players of the game will have more utility and more control over their burrowed units and what they're going to do with them. Numéro 2. New players, especially players trying out multiple races, will be able to find this consistency in the idea of sieging up and unsieging. The lurker is very much analogous to a siege tank. Anyone used to using a lurker will be able to use siege tanks more easily. anyone used to using siege tanks, Widow Mines, any of the Terran Transformers, will be able to use the Lurker more easily, back and forth. So it allows people more flexibility when they want to play multiple races. It also allows them to just not be so confused when they're trying to unburrow their units and the usual button for unburrow is not working and it just unburrows everything when it's supposed to be burrowed. You have more control about thinking about what's going on. Chris! Let's take the population of StarCraft, all the players, and let's take everyone who's playing standard out of the equation. They're not going to be impacted negatively. They're a small little group of people. And even the people who decide to move to grid, which by the way are generally not going to be brand new players, because brand new players and casual players are just gonna be like, I'm playing StarCraft. They're gonna be clicking on the command card maybe, who even knows? But they're probably not gonna be like, yeah, my hotkeys, I think I'll change those around. That's like a very small group of people that say, hotkeys. And I'm saying this as a person who does tons of hotkey stuff, so I know we are a subsection, right? So we have the grid user, small, and then we even have a subsection of that because the only people who are going to be negatively impacted by this are the people who specifically want to have the same key for burrow as unburrow, who want that. The only people are going to be negatively affected. And I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm not Blizzard, right? I'm not. But in any case, the concept is that it's going to be negatively impacting a tiny group of people, and it'll be positively impacting a large group of people. Maybe the delta between negative and positive was too small before, but with Legacy of the Void coming in, I think it's time. I think the delta is large enough, and I would really like to see this reconsidered. And at least, let's open up a dialogue. Let's talk about it. What are the, pros and cons? I've outlined my thoughts. Please go ahead and give your thoughts in the comment section below, on the Reddits, on the Blizzard forums, on Team Liquid, wherever you want to talk. Let's get this dialogue opened up. It's a small quality of life change, but I think it is going to be nice. It's going to be a nice little change that should be relatively easy to implement, and just looking for your feedback. My name is JaKaTaK, and as always, thanks for watching. If you have an idea for a video you would like me to do, please leave it with any questions, comments, criticisms, concerns, or anything beginning with the letter C in the comment section below, and I'll see you again soon.